Case study: contaminated food and hand-washing failures cause brain infection. The mysterious case of bacon brain. A man in the US whose brain was scanned after he complained of headaches was found to have tapeworm larvae, Taenia solium is the species, in his brain, a condition known as neurocysticercosis. Neurocysticercosis is a tapeworm infection that involves the central nervous system. That's the brain and spinal cord. It's a variant of cysticercosis which is contracted by humans who ingest the eggs of an adult pork tapeworm. Cysticercosis occurs when tapeworm eggs hatch into larvae in the tissues of the patient, with muscles, brain, and eyes commonly affected. The larvae cause cysts to form in the tissue, which can affect the functioning of the organ. Symptoms can vary widely depending on the location and number of cysts, ranging from mild discomfort to severe neurological complications. Fatality rates for people with neurocysticercosis can be as high as 26%. Cysticercosis is endemic in developing countries, but rare in the United States, occurring almost exclusively among immigrants or travellers from developing countries. The man in this case had no recent history of travel or any exposure to farm animals. Cysticercosis is associated with pigs and pig meat because Taenia solium is a pig parasite. It's virtually non-existent in countries where pork consumption is banned and prevalent in developing countries where pigs are raised as primary food sources. Media reports about the recent US case said the man contracted the tapeworm cyst from eating lightly cooked, non-crispy bacon for, and I quote, most of his life. However, cysticercosis is not contracted directly by eating a tapeworm-containing meat. If cysticercosis isn't contracted from eating tapeworm-containing meat, how do you become infected? In the 1990s, 4 people in an Orthodox Jewish community whose members do not consume pig meat developed cysticercosis, which presented as seizures and brain lesions. Researchers were baffled because the people had not been exposed to pork or pigs. The cause was ultimately attributed to the victims' domestic workers who carried pork tapeworms in their digestive tracts. And in the email and the post, there is a life cycle of the pork tapeworm. It's actually pretty complicated. People who have adult tapeworms living in their digestive system, an infection known as Taeniasis, share tapeworm eggs in their feces. When the tapeworm eggs contaminate pig food, as can happen when pigs and humans live in close proximity, their meat becomes infected and can pass tapeworms to humans if it's not properly cooked. Tapeworms usually reproduce inside pigs, not humans. However, if tapeworm eggs contaminate human food and drinking water, the eggs can hatch inside human tissues. Tapeworm eggs get into human food when a person with tapeworms doesn't wash their hands properly after going to the toilet, or if human feces contacts raw vegetables or drinking water. It is the eggs, not the parasite containing meat, which causes cysticercosis in humans. And just a little aside here, adult tapeworms can live in their hosts for up to 30 years and can be as long as 6.7 meters or 22 feet. The US patient who pursued a lifetime of non-crispy bacon consumption did not catch cysticercosis from the bacon, and locally acquired cases of neurocysticercosis were thought to be non-existent in the United States by his medical practitioners who described his case in the American Journal of Case Reports. He is thought to have become infected through auto-inoculation. Auto-inoculation in this case means the doctors believe he was carrying adult tapeworms in his digestive tract and managed to transmit their eggs to his food or mouth from not washing his hands properly after toileting. In the case report, it suggested he contracted tapeworm taeniasis from his long history of consuming lightly cooked bacon, although no supporting evidence was provided. The only foods which can cause a tapeworm intestinal infestation of the type in this case, Taenia solium, are pork-based, according to the US CDC. Other species of tapeworm are associated with beef meat, fish meat, and dog feces. Data on the prevalence of tapeworm infection and cysticercosis in the US is scant, and the prevalence of Taenia solium in meat in the US food supply appears non-existent. Among the 525,000 infections attributed to pork in the United States between 1998 and 2015, none were linked to Taenia solium. However, a survey in Laos, which looked for Taenia solium in 590 pig carcasses, found less than 1% to be infected. Tissues from the infected pigs contained a significant number of viable cysts. When pork meat is affected by tapeworm, cysts can be seen with the naked eye. They are sometimes described as appearing like grains of sticky rice. The cysts are inactivated by heat, and infected meat is safe to eat after thorough cooking. Got to tell you though, it looks pretty disgusting. And there is a picture in the email and the post. Takeaways for food professionals. Tapeworms are parasites which can infect people through contaminated food. The presence of adult tapeworms in humans doesn't cause serious symptoms. However, they can lead to a serious secondary infection if tapeworm eggs from an infected person are ingested. Doctors recently reported on a man in the United States who had tapeworm larval cysts in his brain, neurocysticercosis. They suspect he acquired the disease through autoinfection by improperly washing his hands after going to the toilet while carrying tapeworm in his own intestinal tract. They reported that he had tapeworms because of his lifetime habit of eating lightly cooked, non-crispy bacon, although no evidence was included in their case report. Pork meat containing tapeworm cysts is safe to eat after it's been thoroughly cooked to at least 63 degrees centigrade, that's 145 Fahrenheit for whole cuts, and 71 degrees centigrade or 160 degrees Fahrenheit for ground meat, and also allowed to rest after cooking for 3 minutes. People with tapeworm infestations, that's Taeniasis, can pose risk to others if they don't wash their hands properly after using the toilet. Tapeworm eggs from their feces can lead to serious illness and death by causing cysticercosis and neurocysticercosis, which happens if tapeworm eggs are ingested and subsequently hatch inside a person's brain, muscle, or eyes. Neurocysticercosis has a high fatality rate. To prevent cysticercosis and neurocysticercosis, always cook pork meat properly, wash hands thoroughly after using the toilet, and keep human sewage away from food and water sources. In short, a man in the US who experienced severe neurological symptoms was found to have cysts from pork tapeworm in his brain. The disease was attributed to his habit of eating lightly cooked bacon and not washing his hands afterwards. Neurocysticercosis cannot be caught from eating undercooked meat, but can be acquired from someone who has adult tapeworms in their digestive tract, a condition known as taeniasis, if they don't wash their hands properly after using the toilet. The prevalence of pork tapeworm in the US food supply is unknown, but thought to be very low. Meat from tapeworm-infected pigs is safe to eat if properly cooked. Food contaminated with tapeworm eggs through improper hygiene is not safe to eat and can lead to illness and death. And I've got links to all the sources as usual in the email and the post, and some further reading for you. There is a link to the whole case report for that man, a link to a article called What You Should Know About Tapeworms, and some resources from the Centres for Diseases Prevention and Control as well. Oh, and by the way, I've got a little footnote at the bottom of that article saying that there are some other scientists who actually disagreed with the people who wrote the case report in saying that neurocysticercosis may be locally acquired in the USA by local residents.